Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namah Pranavartaya Shuddha Jnanaikam-murtaye Nirmalaya Prasantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Nitaye Sarva-vidhyanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Gurave Sarva-lokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamutiravedhe. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishnam Narayanam Vande, Krishnam Vande Vrijapriyam, Krishnam Dvaipayanam Vande, Krishnam Vande Pradasudam, Janmatyasya Adonvyadi Idras Adeshva Vignaswarat, Tene Brahmagritaya Adikaviye, Muhyandi Yasuraya, Tejo Varitam Yata Vinimayo, Yatratishagomsha, Dhamna Savena Satanarstagugam, Satyam Param Dhimahi. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarvabhava Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkhasamanaha Tam Namami Haripuram Satchitananda Rupaya Vishwodbhatyadi Hedave Tabatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Yam Praprajantam Anupetam Petakrityam Dvaipayano Vidakakadra Ajuhava Putredi Tanmayataravo Abhineduhu Tam Sarva Bhutakhtayam Munim Anatosmi. Sri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Namaskaram. So we were with Narada Maharishi at Bhatrikachara in the last session. Sanat Kumaras are having an assembly of satsangam of great seers. That's the time Maharishi Narada were passing by with a long face, grief-trodden face. Sanat Kumara asked him, Narada, what happened to you? Then we saw Narada lamented what happened to his journey to the earth, thinking Prithvi is the karma bhumi, where the redemption is possible, where only is the redemption possible. Therefore, he believed that Bhumi would be full of great devotees, jnanis, yogis. But to his surprise, when he wandered around the Punya Kshetras, from Sedubandhanam to Rishikesh, to Vrindavan, everywhere he went through, he could not find things that pleases his mind. So we saw 20 plus reasons why he gave. The Kali Yuga is invading the minds of the people. Janas have got asura gunas. So we become a commitment of both good qualities and bad qualities, very difficult to comprehend what is right, what is wrong. Dharma is not stable, and so on and so forth. But then he started saying, while I was traveling through Vrindavan, the great place of Hari Leela, I saw a wonder. That was a beautiful young lady with the eyes like a lotus was there with the two old men lying next to her. And she was trying to wake them up in vain. Around her were hundreds of beautiful young ladies, again with beautiful eyes, serving her. So with curiosity, I went there and I looked at her and said, who is this person? But she, recognizing me, called me, oh, great Maharishi, please don't go. Stand by. Bestow your beautiful benign glance on me, because the moment such as great seers, great sages took mercy on us and took their eyes on us, we get redemption. Please look at me. Solve my problem. Please tell me something, because by hearing you, I get salvation. So she prayed. So, and she said, I am Bhakti, I'm called Bhakti here. These two, the old persons that are lying down there, they are my sons. They are Jnanam and Vairagyam. So this is what she started saying. Well, we go through a little bit more on the story, and then we look at the Tattvartham of what the whole thing is about. So we saw in the last class, Idanim Shrunam Madbhaktam Sachistvam Tapodanam Vartha me Vidadapyasti Tam Shudva Sukamavaha. Tapodanaha, oh great Rishi. Idanim Madbhartam Sachintaha. Tvam Shrunam, please listen to me. Idanim, this time. Madbhartam Sachintaha. Whatever I'm going to say, please listen to me. Vartame Vidadaha Pisti. By listening to my words, listening to my plea, Vidada Abhiyasti. I'm going to say it, my life is a very tragic life. I'm going to say it elaborately, even though it is elaborated. It may be boring to you. Please listen to me. Because by listening to you, by Tam Sutva, just by you listening to me, Sukhamavaha, I will get peace. I will get contentment, peace. So we saw that in the last class. Then she continues. Now I'm telling you about my life. So who am I? Because you need to know who I am. Uptanna Dravide Saham Pratim Karnatake Gatha Kvachit Maharashtre Gurjare Jinudam Gatha. I was born in the Dravida Desh. I was born in the south of India. Dravidam means literally means a land which is surrounded by the sea on three sides, Debakarpa. So the South India is called Dravidam, especially below the Vindhya mountains, Dravidadesh. So I was born there. Generally, it is said that the bhakti rooted in the South India. We can't put geography to it, but it is in the Puranic context. If you look at all the bhakti literatures and the bhakti movement, the intensity is so high in South of India. So he says, Uttanna Dravide, I saw that. Saham, Soham. I mean that person who is born in South of India, Vrittim Karnatake Gata. So having born in the Tamil region, I started gaining growth in Karnataka. So I think she's explaining her gradual growth. Kvachit Maharashtra. Kinchit. A little, gradually, I grew further in Maharashtra. So you can take a look at this, all those, if you even take the, say, Vaishnavic text, I mean, from 4th, 5th century onwards, you have these Alvars in Tamil Nadu. Even Shaivam is there even before that with Karakalanya in the 3rd century. And then it moved on, and then there is a Bhajantir Jnaneshwar in Maharashtra in the 10th, 11th centuries. Like the Bhakti movement is just raised and raised and raised. Gurjare Jirnatam Gatha. Gurjare means in the state of Gujarat. Jirnatam Gatha means it attained, Jirnatam means it attained maturity. Okay, it attained the stage of where it is fully blown, fully grown, fully glorified. But you can also take the other way. Jirnata means it started decaying. It started become a little bit fragile, a little bit trembling. That we'll see by the next shloka. It reconfirmed that in understanding, in my view, because Gujarat, that is a state which is having a boundaries to the invaders from the land. In those days, invasion through the sea was not prominent, but the invasion through the land part is very high. And Gujarat, Punjab, all those states were the gateway to the Akhanda Bharat. So there there are a lot of invasion of Pakanta, those who are not the supporters of Veda Sastras. They're not just Nastikas. It's not, see, the Nastika difference is that Nastikas are not naysayer to the God. They are naysayer to the Vedas. They may have a different God in their mind. So you should never think that the naysayers of Vedas are those who don't believe in God. They may believe in God, but they have a viparita jnana. See, sometimes ajnanam is better because you can, darkness is better. You put a light, darkness goes away. Jnanam goes away when you are on satsang. But viparita jnanam is that you have a different understanding. It's very difficult. That's the reason why, as we grow older, we are not able to change our mindset. Because, we got a very strong mindset. It has been nourished and cultured by many, many years of belief which are wrong. So there there are people coming there and they have started eroding the values. Tatra Gora Kalir Yogat Pakandehi Kantidangaha Dudbalaham Chiram Yata Putrapyam Sakamantatam. Tatra, in those places, here I think you can take it to the state of Gujarat or in the border region. Gora Kaler Yogat. Gora Kaler Yoga. The Kali Yoga means here joining. Because of the Kali Yuga has come into this, the Gora Kali means the cruel Kali has come. Because of that, Pakantehi. Pakantas are those who are, you can say that, to really pinpoint them, there may be this Yavanas and Jainas and who said no to the Lakshyartham of Vedanta. There are very good reasons we can see in history why they started deviating from the Mimamsikas, but they also ignored the truth of Vedas, and that ignorance manifested into an aggression in attitude. They do what's called the Jilpa, the Vedantavadas, and even to destroy the the signs of Sanatana Dharma, destroy the Yajnapeethas, create a new symbols, new monuments. So the Viparita Jnanam has come through. They have the Pakantehi. What happened because of them? Kantita Ankaha. So Kantita Ankaha means my body has been just sliced into pieces. So therefore, Durbala Aham Chinam Putra. Okay. Durbala Aham. So she's giving adjective to herself. I am the unfortunate one. Putra Pyam, if this all this, my children, my 2 children. Saha Mantadam. Mandam means dullness, fatigue, tiredness, weariness. So I become so tired, so helpless with these 2 children. The unfortunate I am. Yada, I became that. So bhakti is finding difficult to survive, so it becomes very tired. Then what happened to her? Vrindavanam punaha prapya navineva surubini jadahum yuvati samyak shreshta rupatu sampratham. So I was somehow wandering around with my 2 children. I came to Vrindavanam. Vrindavanam prapya eva. Only after reaching the Vrindavan. So what she's saying now is, I was living every place, but I wanted to find salvation. I come to Vrindavan. Iva Navina Swarupini. Surupini means beautiful form. What happened to me? I attained the Navina, the modern look, the look that you see that I'm a young woman. I attained this face. My old age is gone. I got back my my youth in a way. Jadaham yuvadi samyak shreshta rupadu sampradam. Aham punahi yuvadi jada. So what happened? I have become now a young woman. Shreshta rupadu sampradam. Now I become a very, see what she's saying is, bhakti become revived in the Vrindavan. That's the import of it. In Vrindavan, Vrindavanam is, let me say sometimes Vrindavanam. It's actually Vrindavanam. Vrinda is lots of meaning. I think generally here it is the basil leaves, tulasi. Doesn't matter, you can say Vrinda also. It has got a, Vrinda, tulasi is a great, holy plant. It represents Lord Krishna. Vrinda, Vrindavani, Vishwabhuchita, Vishwabhavani, Pushpasara Nandini, Tulasi, Krishna Jivani. There are such 8 names. Vrinda, Vrindavani, Vishwabhuchita, Bhujita. The whole world is worshipping Tulasi. Vishwabhavani, Pushpasara, because Tulasi is the flower for Archita. Nandini, she's called. Tulasi, she's known. Krishna Jivani. So Krishna Jivani means it's where the Krishna is residing. No? So it says, Edat Namashtakam Chayeva Srotram Namartha Samyuta Yapade Tanja Samyujam. So Astameda Palam Lapet. Astameda Palam Lapet. So this 8 names of Tulasi, if you worship, you get, in Tulasi Mahatmyam say that you get the prayojanam of Ashtameda Yaga. That is the Tulasi, the Vrindavan is in the Mathura. Fortunately, it is not very well maintained physically today. So was Varanasi some time back, but it got revived. I'm sure something will happen to Mathura as well. So, but the physical aspect is just one. It is not a geography we are talking about. We're not even talking about the history of Vrindavan through Bhagavata Puranas. It is the Lakshyartham of it. It is the Manas is a Vrindavan. Vrinda also means a particular thorn. So the mind has got this chittavritti, the thorn is there. But if you wade all those thorns, if you go inside, you will see the Paramatma, effulgent. And then why all this confusion in life? That is his Leela. But when the Leela happens, and if you are part of the Leela, but then you realize that all this is gone, all this fear is gone, all this Maya is gone. If I hold on to this light, which is the Krishna Hetu, the Krishna's feet, if I hold on to that one, I'm safe. So that feet is doing dance in the Vrindavan, the mind of Vrindavan. So I am this Gopika, I am this Radha. So what I do, I imagine, I visualize, I wish, I contemplate, I believe, I surrender by holding on to that feet or holding on the hand and dancing with him. Whatever Baba I have. So this dance, when I do, he dances in your mind. And you do, he dances with you. At the same time, he dances with everybody else. And this is what the Bhagavata talks about it. Everywhere he is there, omniscient, omnipresent, giving happiness to everyone. You see, a great relationship is one, or great impact that you make on somebody is not giving a general talk which touches them individually at some point, but give them yourself. When you talk to somebody and you give yourself completely to them, what do you mean? What do you mean? Giving means have an active listening to them. Give the impression, at least not an impression initially, but the genuine offer of yourself. Another person thinks, oh, he is completely with me. Then there is the bond, and there is a reverence, there is snehitam, there is a sagitvam. But God is like that. That's the reason why when you pray to God, God comes to you and becomes personalized to you. And the utmost form of the devotion is the bhaktis of the gopikas, which is far ahead of everybody's bhakti, far ahead of Dhruva's bhakti, maybe at least at par with Prahladan's bhakti. So that dance is called Rasa Leela, and the Rasa Leela is not just a physical enjoyment of the proximity of Lord Krishna with the beautiful young women. That is not the thing. It is about the Jiva Ishvara Aikyam. It is the Paramatma Jivatma Abhedam, Anubhuti. And that happens in the mind. And that mind is Vrindavan. Okay, that is the verbiage of Tattvartha. But here she is mentioning for the story that I went to Vrindavan and I got this wonderful body of mine. Okay? Back then, Imau tu Sagita Vatra Sutau me Kalishchata Kshamat Idam Sthanam Parityajya Videsham Kamyate Maya. But here, Atra Shayita Imau tu. Imau means these two. She's showing the hand with the two guys lying down. Shayita, who is lying down. Means thou, they are my sons. Kalishchada Shramad. Shramad, because suffering, because of this klesham, because of this fear, because of this grief, because they are suffering, itam sthanam parityajya videsham kamyate maya. Maya kamyate na maya. So I cannot go from this place. Itam sthanam, this place, this Vrindavan. I can't go anywhere. See, what she's saying is that I want to go everywhere because bhakti wants to spread everywhere, but I cannot go because these two are suffering. And if I go out of Vrindavan, I will lose my strength. Then I also become very old. So she's afraid. What do I do? Jaradatvam samayato tena dukkhet tena dukkhena dukkita saham tu tarani kasmat sudau vruddha vimau. Imau, this two, Jaradatatva, they become the old aged, they become very ripen in the physical part, samayado, they reach that kind of age. Tena dukkhena, because of that grief, aham dukkhita. So I am also feeling very sad. So aham, a person like me, like that, Taruni, I become a young lady. So now she's pondering. I came to the Vrindavan, I become young, but I'm really worried now. Kutaha imau vritta. How is this? These two are still old. Kasmat aham tu taruni. How is that I become a young person coming to the Vrindavan? But these two, the Jnana Vairagyam is not. Again, you see, we will see the Tattvartham in a minute, but she's saying bhakti, a true bhakti by itself may get nourished in the satsangam of Vrindavan, but she's still having the tapam. Why the tapam? Because she's not having the jnanam and vairagyam. Her children are also getting up and enjoying it. So bhakti alone would have difficulty. We'll see what is bhakti. We're going to use the word bhakti, jnana, vairagyam repeatedly for many times. But the same word will have a very different meaning. That's what's very important to understand here. Maybe we can talk about it now. See, the thing is, what is bhakti? So bhakti is, you can say very simple way, bhakti is what my parents taught me. Even before I start learning alphabet, learning about everything about the world, they gave me bhakti. How do I know it? I recognize that they took me to the temple. Before even they do namakarna, before they give you the name, they take you to the God. So somehow, it's a child, even though it has no language skills the early days, it observes, it grows, the neural networks grows, it smells with the five senses. So all of us have got the fortune of our parents sort of inculcating devotion. So therefore, bhakti is something which is come to us naturally without knowing what it is. Then what happened was, the bhakti becomes a kind of technique, so as to say, to appeal for help to somebody superior. When do you ask for help? When you have trouble or when you want something else. So it becomes what's called a sakama bhakti. Kama means a desire, a purpose. Sakama means with a desire. Absolutely nothing wrong. So there's a faith is there, and there is a bhakti comes in, and bhakti therefore becomes sakama bhakti. So whenever you go to the temple, you ask, okay, you go to the temple, what did you ask for? That's the first question comes in. What did you ask for? What did you pray for? Why have you come to the temple? So therefore, we always attach something to gain from the God. Sakama. So what are we trying to gain? Gain something in the world. Attain that power, that job, that promotion, that marriage of the son or the grandchild to be born, my deceased to go, anything, something in the world. How do you know it's going to happen? I don't care. I believe in it. Sakama bhakti. So I here use God as a means to attain something I want in the world. So if you want to define Sakama bhakti, that is Sakama bhakti. God is a means, the world is my attainment. And that is very natural to have it, because our Purushartham is Arthakama. You need to have the means to live. You need to enjoy the life. Therefore, the attainment is not God right now for me. Attainment is attain what I need to secure my life. Therefore, I use God. Therefore, it is a most welcome thing. It is not a lawful thing. It is absolutely great thing, because you do your yatram, you do your effort, but you attach that effort to God and ask God, give me that, give me this. We do that. But this Sakama bhakti is attaining worldly things, is not giving you the God himself, herself. Because why? You didn't ask for it. You go to the God and ask for that to happen, this to happen in the world. Therefore, you attain that. Therefore, Sakama bhakti cannot lead you to divinity, divine abode of the God, redemption, mukti, moksham, one with the God. Nothing can happen by Sakama bhakti. But the Sakama bhakti is done in so many ways to please the devas who sustain the world. Purva Meenamsa talks about it. The great Daksha, who was doing yaga, yajnams, he said, Lord Shiva, Shiva who? I don't care. I know exactly if I do the yajna with this devotion that I want this, I'll get it. And what I want is things to be God in this world, another world. But what happened to him? Destroyed, because anything you get is mithyatvam. Whatever you get, because you ask for something, imagine how long you hold on to it. That goes away. You want something else. So everything that you get through, so that is the time you started thinking, no, I want something else. Then Vedas tells you, right, why don't you convert it? Instead of using the God as a means and the world as your object, why don't you use the world as an object, as a means, and God as an object? That means I would use this world, I use these upatis, I use the upakarnas, I use everything in my, not control, in my avail that I can use. I will do it with a view to attain God. Now what's happening is, your Sakama bhakti become Satkama bhakti, I can say. It's a Nishkama bhakti, but I'll say Satkama bhakti. Because here what you still have a desire. The desire is to attain God. So this kind of a Satkama bhakti or Nishkama bhakti in terms of worldly things is a transition that should happen. But this cannot happen without Sakama bhakti. Therefore, teach children to pray to God for even mundane things. they will evolve into that because it is easier to switch between what you know and what you do not. But then how do we go to the Nishkama Bhakti? It doesn't happen very quickly. For that, the whole Bhagavad Gita is all about this. See, Bhagavad Gita, you can take it as a Vedanta Saram, as an Upanishad. No, we said Upanishad Su, we say when you conclude the chapter. Why? Because Upanishad gives you the Atma Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam. But this is a battlefield lecture for a soldier who is not willing to fight, and the friend says, get up and fight. How can it be Atma Jnanam? That we saw, the whole 18 chapters is an exposition of the Mahavakya, Tadu Tvam Asi. Tvam means you, the Jiva. Then the first 6 chapters talks about the Jiva Tattvam. What do you have to do? Who you are, what's your karma? What is sannyasi, what's your lifestyle? The next 6 chapters is Tat, that Parabrahma, Brahma Jnanam, Ishvara Swarupa Jnanam. We saw that in the last one is Asi, that you are that. How the Jiva and Ishvara becomes one. So you can see the whole Bhagavad Gita is a version, right? So you can see it as a Vedanta Saram that way. You can also say Bhakti Saram. Here I use the word Bhakti very carefully. This is about the supreme envelope of Bhakti, which is start from Sakama to Nishkama, the whole thing. You can also see it as a Bhakti Saram. So if you take this view and start reading this Bhagavad Gita, everywhere you'll see Bhakti. So those who take this approach will say, no, Jnanam is secondary, Bhakti is first. Others will say, no, Jnanam is the first, Bhakti is second. But they misunderstand. These words are tricking your mind. This is the experience that you are looking for is what is going through. Some say Bhakti is emotion. Jnanam is intellectual. That's not right. These two are not different. You cannot have an emotion if you don't have any consciousness of yourself, the knowledge of yourself. So you cannot have a completely dispassionate knowledge. There's always there is some passion there. So how do we go? How does Bhagavad Gita gives you bhakti as the core of it, even in Karma Kandam? How does it do that? Bhagavan says in the thing, Yat karosi, yat ashnasi, yat jihosi, tadasi, yat yat tabassashi kaunteya, tat kurushva mat arpanam. He's giving a very simple way to Arjuna, Kaunteya. Yat karosi, yat ashnasi. Whatever you do, whatever you perform, yat jihosi, whatever the yajna you do, yat yat tapas, whatever tapas you do, everything you, Kaunteya, mat arpanam tat kurushva. You do it everything on my behalf. Now what he's saying is, you don't need to become somebody different. You don't need to give away from what you're doing. You may be a butcher. Go and slaughter what you need to do, but you do it in the name of God. That's why, you cannot really judgmental about one's job. It is not the job that matters. It is how you do the job. Work becomes worship. You do that. Well, how does it bring me from Sakama to Nishkama? Because your focus is not in the outcome of the job, but doing the job. When the Japanese cooking, they teach you about how to slice the aubergine, but it is not, you don't think about how it's going to be eaten. You think about how this next slice is going to come. Not even next slice, how this slice is going to come. Not even this slice, how this knife is going to cut. So every minute of it, moment of it, microsecond, you look at what you're doing. When you do that, you become already moving into the Karma Yoga. You do that. But then you to develop into pure things, like, Bhagavan says, Upadesa Saram, Jagadishadi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bhukadeva Bhujat. So for the Jagadishadi, so if you do things for the world, but you do that with Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bhut Seva. So you do that for the God of 8 different forms. Basically saying Vishwarupam. if you do any seva to the world, when you do the what we call it mitra seva, we say, in whatever form you do seva to others, when you do that, it becomes least to nishkamas. Because what happens when you do seva? When you do seva, and you come up. You don't look for a payment out of it. That's not a seva anymore. You don't expect them to feed you, no. You go there to feed them. Sometimes you may have the abhimanam. I went there, I did all this social service. I spent my time. I know I would have made millions in the stock market, but I go and spend the time to seva. They didn't give me food or anything, but I don't care. I don't want to take any of the money. I do everything. I take my own food. But sir, after doing all this, the guy didn't even have the courtesy to thank me. You see, then everything collapses. Because what you expect there is the thanks. Even the expectation of somebody going to thank you becomes a sakamo. See, you don't even, because that is not seva. So to completely disown everything. Now, this, how can I do it? How is it possible to do it? Okay, you possible to do it instead of not doing it on others, do it on yourself. That's why you take the vratams. Vratam is not, I won't take bitter gourd vegetables today because I never take it. I don't like it. That's not a vratam. But vratam is what I normally take it, what I normally enjoy, what I relish, what I need. I don't take it today. So at the temptation, I control. So I sacrifice this. So things that is naturally you're expecting out of your job, if you don't need it, then it becomes a seva. So you do that seva. So now it comes to karma yoga. Therefore, when I do karma, so therefore karma yogi is the true bhaktiman. So there is, if you take the approach, how can you do a karma versus karma yogam versus bhakti yogam, comparing what is better? It's completely nonsense. Karma yogi is a bhakti, the great bhakti, because he is the one breaking the sakama bhakti, the lower level of bhakti, and moving towards sakama bhakti. Even Vedas are organized like this, like Bhagavad Gita. Logically, there are the Purva Mimamsika part, Karma Kantam talks about all the rituals. Vedas, that's why Veda Aranyam it is. Why the Veda Siras, Vedantam is taken at a slightly elevated thing in our studies, because Veda Aranyam gives you everything you want. It's for humanity. And you want to enjoy life in this world, do this. Nothing to do with the God. Do the Indra Yagyam, Varuna Yagyam, Putra Kameshtiyagam. You want more children? Do this mantra, do this, you get lots of children. And you suffer. That's your problem. So Vedam gives you all these rituals, but they are all dharmic rituals. Vidita karma. Something you should not do, something you should do. All this comes to karma kanta. Then from there, it moves to upasana kanta. Okay, you have done that all this. These are all not very good at all for you in the long term. Start moving to upasana. So upasana bhakti, that's what comes in the Bhagavad Gita, also in the middle part. How do I do upasana? Now you want to attain that freedom. Pray to me. Bhagavan says every time, pray to me, pray to me. Now it looks like he's boasting. No, he's giving so beautiful medicine to the Arjuna who is suffering. What do you expect when you are having trouble? Somebody, you are in trouble and you ask me advice and I tell you, okay, go to this website and go to the fourth bullet, and then there's a link, go to that link and there's a form to fill up the form, then you take to the doctor and you give up. But I say, it's a problem, leave it to me. I sort it out. Leave it to me, forget it, I take care of it. See, that's refuge you attain. So therefore, I have to tell you, leave it to me, give it to me. I'm not boasting myself, I'm not egoistic that I am the best one. No, I need to tell you that so that you get consolation. That's what Bhagavan says. I am that, I am this, give it to me. Now, I didn't read Bhagavad Gita, I do Shiva Purana, I do Bible, I do Quran. Somewhere you'll find a form that gives you consolation. Therefore, the Upasana Bhakti goes into either an Ekarupa Bhakti. This is the God I'm going to say, Krishna, Rama, Shiva. Then that's again in a borderline case. If I am doing Shiva Bhakti and I see a Vaishnava coming there and says, no, I don't pray to Shiva, I pray to Vishnu. And I say, I pray to Shiva, I don't pray Vishnu. You can do it as a discipline for yourself. But you have to understand, if Ekam Satyam, and then the Ekarupam can have Bhagunamam. If Vishnu is the only God, and somebody is worshipping Shiva, the Shiva has to be nothing but Vishnu. He calls him Shiva. And same with the Shiva Bhakta would say, he calls him Vishnu. It's the same thing. So therefore, if there are many such worshippers there, and many such forms there, my Ekarupa Bhakti, which I use it for many, many years in my family life, in my personal life, but now I realize this, it has to become a Vishwarupa Bhakti. That means I should revere. Allah is God. Jesus is God. They are worshippers of Christianity, and they may be wrong in their approach or something, so we are. Their underlying tenet is always Satyam. So the Vishwarupa Bhakti, you develop it, but you have come from the Karma Yoga part. In Karma Yoga, you give up everything. Therefore, the Vishwarupa Bhakti would not look for God in a form of God with 4 hands or with a cross or with a thing, but in everything in the world. And you see divinity everywhere. That's why in Vishwarupa Darshanam, he started saying, I am the mountain, I am the best river, I am the Tulsi, I am this month. Animate, inanimate object, everything God says, I am that. What was he telling you? What was he telling Arjuna? Move from the Ekarupa Bhakti to Vishwarupa Bhakti. Now, I do Vishwarupa Bhakti. What did Arjuna say? I can't really see you, Krishna, because this is a, imagine our Mahabharata movies we see. Vishwarupa means not the world, not the universe, but a form comes in with 1,000 hands, Sahasrarupa, Sahasrasiras, and Jagat Jyoti, and Arjuna could not see. And then Bhagavan gave him a new glasses. Wear this glass, then you can see it. Basically, he gave the capacity to see. But he said, after seeing it, he says to Krishna, please go back to your old form. I just can't take it anymore. Because he is not ready yet. So he is not yet a Jivan Mukta, but he is a Sadhaka. But for him, it is necessary because, sometimes we should never think, Jivan Mukta means great and ordinary Jivan. No, because everything is Brahman. Some has elevated to the path. Elevation is also not a word. Deviated to the path of Atmanubhuti. Some not. Therefore, if somebody is not devoted, somebody is not spiritual, they are not sinners. Because they are in the deluded place for some time. Because God wants them to be like that. So therefore, we have no moral right to claim superiority because I go to satsang or I teach or I learn or no. You have got the fortune of coming to that because you've seen enough of it. So Arjuna did not want it. Arjuna said, give me back my normality. You go back to as your original form. This is metaphorically I'm talking about. But then Bhagavan did not leave him. Bhagavan was a great teacher. He started giving him little feeds and then he turned the screws and then started directing towards where he wanted him to take. Then the last 6 chapters he talked about things that how you become a Nirguna Brahma. That he talked about you are nothing but the Brahman. So the way that Gita talks is slightly with different paribhasha, different technical terms. Bhagavan talked about Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. Because, Bhagavad Gita takes Sankhya as a reference point for Prakriti, And then it deviates from there. How this, what Sankhya has missed out, is the Parabrahman. So he talks about Apara Prakriti is the lower form of myself. Bhagavatam talks about Paramatma, Parabrahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Parabrahman is that Ekam Satyam. The Paramatma is that form that you bring into to a Prakriti and Purusha. The creating, expressing power, and the power of expression. You understand? The willpower is different from the power of will. The willpower is the power that executes, that is applied. The power of will is the power that allows you to have a will. Kriya Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, all this. So this is where the subtle manifestations is talked through. And then it is personified into a form. To Saguna Brahma, we call them Bhagavan or Bhagavati, where it is a personified form to give things to the world. So that Nirguna Brahma Bhakti is called Jnanam, but this is Bhakti. So there is Jnana Lakshanam there. So therefore, how can you say Jnanam is better or Bhakti is better? There is no difference. It is an envelope and whatever you want to call it, but each word, each term gives a very different meaning, a different darshana. So darshana is a kind of beautiful word in Sanskrit. Darshana is not just what you see, is what you experience, what you take it. The same thing the same object somebody sees, they have an interpretation, and everyone has got different interpretation. It's like a poetry. A poetry is, even the author doesn't have all the interpretation is possible. A good poetry, a blessing of God, when it comes out, it is pregnant with meaning. And mother doesn't know what she's going to deliver. She knows she carries something. Hopefully a son, or hopefully a daughter, or hopefully both. Something she thinks, she imagines. But what she's going to deliver, she has not a clue. Anyway, so I won't divert it there. So why I come here? Bhakti. So you can see now the Nishkama Bhakti comes from Karma Yogam, or Karma Yogam is Bhakti. Nishkama Bhakti comes from Upasana. Upasana is Bhakti. Nishkama Yogam comes with Vedanta Vicharam, Satsangam. That's also Bhakti. So here, when you're listening to this, and if your partner or somebody is doing Vishnu Sahasranama Parayana at home, you are not doing something different from that person. One is doing Upasana Bhakti, Parayana Bhakti. One is doing Jnana Vichara Bhakti. So Bhakti is there. So therefore, I think I elaborated this much because this kind of doubts will come. I used to have this kind of doubts as well. Which is better? Karma Yogam, Bhakti Yogam, Jnana Yogam, which one? And somebody says each is a step, each is different. Somebody says they are distinct. So it's all the same. Everything has to be under the wrapper of Bhakti. Bhakti becomes Jnanam, Jnanam becomes Bhakti, Karma becomes Bhakti. May not all of you are sharing, or some of them that we are exchanging every day on a Sri Stuti, for example, and Dejika Sri Stuti, and there you can very clearly see that Bhakti is what creates your contact in life. The contact in life gives you a refined knowledge. The refined knowledge gives you a refined Bhakti. And again, the refined Bhakti gives you a refined contact. So it goes in a kind of a circle, and it is rotating all the time. And that's how it is. So it took more time than what is needed, but let's just do that. So here, coming back to the story, this story, Bhakti is young woman, and the Jnanam, Vairagyam. Vairagyam, we didn't talk about it. Now, what is Vairagyam? Vairagyam is a dispassionate approach to a pursuit. Sometimes you use the word, in a very different context. Something if you're strong, obstinate, you're very stubborn, you say, I'm a Vairagi. No, that is not the right thing. It gives a kind of a sense of purpose in it. It's not. Vairagyam is not hate. No. Vairagyam is not completely unattached to something. No. Vairagyam is be very prudent. Vairagyam is, in a way, a commitment is inbuilt into this. I don't like anything. Everything is Maya. This is called Mayavadis, Sometimes people attribute Advaitam to Mayavadam. It's not. Mayavadis are a sect of people who somehow understood part of this story, what Buddhism has given. Buddhism is very close to Advaitam in one part. Because they didn't say the second part. One part is that Sarvam Dukkhamayam. For them it is. Dukkham is everything. Dukkha Nivarti is what you do. How do you prove it? Just look at yourself. You don't go to the doctor and say, doctor, I have a problem because I am so happy every day. I'm just enjoying life. Look at me. Touch me. Give me medicine. You don't do that. Because that is natural. But you go for a little, headache, you go to the doctor. So Dukkha Nivarti is the purpose of life. But life is full of Dukkham. Life is full of Dukkham, and we look at it because it is, in Patanjali said, Sukham parading as Dukkham. Even Sukham becomes a Dukkham. Buddha took to that Patanjali's words. So whatever you see therefore Dukkham, therefore I give up my princehood, I give up the royal family, I give up my child. The child was just born a month or something for Buddha. He gave up because he saw temporal nature of everything else, Mithyatvam. And therefore he went towards Paramatma. Buddhist philosophy that we see in Buddha is not what Buddha taught. It's what everybody inferred from his conduct after he attained Jnana Kaivalya. He did not answer, he did not write. So the interpretation changed. So what Buddha did not speak in words, but he was speaking in eloquence, like Bhagavan Ramana. That is, everything out there is temporal. The way I am as thumb, as one being, just being in myself. We say yoga chitta vritti nirodha. That is not a definition of yoga. You remember that we discussed that. That is a description of attaining yoga, chitta vritti nirodha. Then the next sutra says, Tat Swarupam. You become what you think of. That is yoga. That being one with that. So Buddha was in yoga, and what was he in one with? And why was he not grieving there? If Buddha is sitting there comfortably, not running around anywhere, that means he found a place, the place where he wanted to go away from. What is the place he wanted to go away from? Grief in the world. Therefore, if he is sitting in a place poised with half eyes open and beautiful posture of Buddha, that means he is complete, fulfilled. What has he got? You can't say nothing. That is Shunyavadam of the Buddhist disciples who took it misunderstanding of it. He was with Paripurnam. He proved he was the Advaita Anubhuti he got. So, but to do that, what came is a Vairagya. What is Vairagyam, therefore, is, in this case, a transition. I ignore everything that lead me to suffering. Those things are not needed. But I will commit to something which will lead me to Paripurna Anandam. That is Vairagyam. The Mayavadis took it, but Buddha said everything is Shunya. So, the world is illusion. Everything is unreal. So they use these phrases of Buddha, use the phrases of Advaitam, but they established a theory that don't care about anything, just let it go. Now, then you become a Charuvaka. If you become everything, let it go, somebody is doing everything is real, you think everything is unreal. This binary put you in a trap, you are in a samsara. What they lacked was the vairagyam. Vairagyam is, misunderstanding of vairagyam is dangerous. It is not giving up. It is holding on to something, like climbing a ladder. When you climb the ladder, next step you want to climb, what do you have to do? You have to give up the step you're holding on to. You give up to hold something up. That is vairagyam. If you give up everything, you fall down. So here, Bhakti says, I got the youthfulness in the Vrindavan. I'm not able to flourish. But I am not willing to go anywhere. I told you because she will become weak. Why she will become weak? Because if you go anywhere, as a youth I am, without these two sons of mine, I'll spread. Who doesn't like beautiful lady? To look at it, to be with her. So everybody will take bhakti, but that bhakti become a sakama bhakti. They may still worship God, but they won't be jnanam, they won't be vairagyam. So there will be again this kind of rituals and blind rituals and all this will happen. So bhakti condemns this. This is how you should interpret this story in my limited understanding, I'm saying. So therefore she's saying in this shloka, in this verse, I am not sure what I can do. Trayanam, I take one more. Trayanam sakacharitvat vaiparityam putasthitam gadate jarada mata trunau tanaya vidhi. Trayanam sakacharitvat. She is now wondering, Trayanam, all these three, that be my two sons and myself, Sahacharitvat. So all of them together was traveling around. We are together. Then Kutaha Vaiparityam Sitam. Then how can there be a difference? How come I become younger here and they are not? Gadate. How can I accept it? How can anybody accept it? What? Jarada Mata Trunau Tanaya Vidhi. Generally, the Vidhi is what? Vidhi is Trunau Tanaya. Tanaya would be Trunau. They will be younger. Children should be younger. Mata Jarada. My mother should be older. That's the Vidhi. So how can we accept this one? Adashochami Chatmanam Vismaya Vishtamanasa Matayoka Nithe Dhiman Karanam Chatrakim Bhaved. So therefore, she's telling, therefore, O Narada Rishi, Vismaya Avishtamanasa. Vismaya means to wonder. This rare thing like this happening. Avishtamanasa. My mind is completely captured by this wonder that there's a young mother with the two old children. Atmanam Sochami. It's a beautiful use of words. Atmanam Sochami. Sochami means I am grieving for myself, self-pitying. See, look at it. This is so wonderful that I am young, but sons are older. But this makes me very self-pitying myself. Yoga nithe dhiman atra kim karanam bhavet. Vataha. Yoga nithe means he is now saying yoga nithi. See, yoga here, yoga is a great wealth. So, oh Narada, yoga nithi. See, when you talk about bhakti, karma, jnanam, you see, Bhagavad Gita is called bhakti yogam, karma yogam, jnana yogam. The yogam is what? Yogam is what makes the bhakti that we talked about. Yogam is what makes it truly the pathway. So without the yogam, yoga means you to be one with. When you do karma, you do one with karma. So here he says, you are the wealth of yoga. You are a yogi. You are a muni. You are a shimani. Please, atrakim karanam bhavet. Tell me, you can solve this problem, right? Tell me, what's the problem? Why this is? So after she's saying all this, so Narada now says, Jnane natki paschami savrame tattva vanake na vishadastvaya karyo hari Shamte karishyate. Jnane atmani paschami. Sarvam yedat tava e anek. So, e anake. Anake means one who is virtuous. Oh, sinless. Bhakti, oh lady, you sinless. Jnanena atmani paschami. I within my knowledge, within my jnanam, I'm seeing. What I'm seeing. Sarvam etat tava. Whatever is happening to you, I'm seeing. So with my jnana drishti, I can see why it is happening to you. Na vishadastva karyaha yo harihi shamte karishade. Vishadam means Vishada Yogam. Remember that first Bhagavad Gita chapter. Vishada means kilesa, dukkha. Na vishadas. Don't worry. Vaya karyaha. So you don't need to be worried about anything. Don't worry about it. Why? Harihi shamte karishade. Hari is there. See, you have to be very careful. Again, you can see the importance of connecting it. Because when Narada says, don't worry, from my intellect, I found out what's the problem. And if you stop there, it becomes very, ahambhavam. But he now says, Harihi shamte karishade. Hari is there. Bhagavan Vishnu is there. He is going to really make it easy. So don't worry. I think we can stop that. So just to, again, a bit slower today, but the summary is that bhakti is lean in Kali Yuga. Bhakti is lean not because bhaktas are less, because you can go to the temple today. I mean, temples are full of people. All the temples are all of yoga, and they pour thousands of milk on the vigraham, even though there is no milk to drink to people. They do all that. They do all that kind of a lavish prayers and everything. Bhakti is not leaning. So bhakti is still beautiful as a young lady. But if you ask the bhakti, are you happy? And bhakti is going to say, I am not happy, because this is not bhakti. You put a little lamp on the front of the Shaniti and say, so and so contributed to this light. Where is bhakti? You don't have a bhakti. So don't mistake. Kali Yuga means nobody believes in God. That's not the Kali Yuga. Even if you go to God and do all this, but you ask for, okay, I come to the God, please let me be the best person than my neighbor. Let me be the happiest person. Let my garden only grow apple. All this is not Kali. So here he talked about that is the nature of the state. So here, bhakti by bhakti's sake is not the focus. Bhakti that is full of jnanam and vairagyam is the focus. Therefore, when we talk about bhakti sadhanas as a Harinama Kirtanam or Radha Kalyana Mahotsavam or Satsangam or Vishnu Parayanam, Vishnu Sahasranam Parayanam or Vritams, they have to be nishkama, satkama. They have to be for the global goodness. It has to be for the seva. Then it becomes very good. Then we are moving away from this Kali. Otherwise, even if you do so much of Bhagavan worship, it is not going to be. That's the Tatparya in my view. Okay, we'll stop there. Om Ashadoma Shadgamaya.
Om Asadoma Sadgamaya.
Tamashoma Jyotirgamaya.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya.
Mrityoma Amridam Gamaya.
Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Tatsat.
Thank you, Raja.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody who came in spite of the change of day.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next week will be